Beat Map Batrep!
Welcome back to Beat Map Batrep episode 13, Tyranids vs. Tyranids. We're heading into round 2, and I of course have the first turn. If you were watching the first one, you saw that I stole the initiative for that. So now comes the flanking maneuver. The gargoyles are flying in. They've taken some casualties from shooting, but they should hopefully still have enough number to shoot and then charge in and then strike down a lot of guys. They do have the nice rule that anytime they hit on a 6, they automatically wound. So, which is really nice against just about anything, especially against monstrous creatures. It would be useful. All the gaunts are moving up, just as a meat shield to the monstrous creatures. The Termagants moving up as well, and these Termagants are moving up. We're going to try to engage a Swarm Lord here and see what we can do. So Ultimate Eye moves up behind them as well. The Trigon moves back because if he gets charged, he's dead, and he's got an 18-inch range on his Assault 12 weapon, so he could provide some fire support. And then the gargoyles are moving in, trying to surround the Termagants here and also move as much away from the table edge as possible so that when they consolidate, hopefully after winning combat, they can get away. So down we're doing Paroxysm. We managed to get it off with the first Hive Tyrant, although he does suffer a Perils of the Warp, and we also put it onto the Hormagaunts. And I rolled 3 dice there, but I only had to roll 2, so they actually made it. And now I'm shooting at the Swarm Lord, and I only managed to do 1 wound with 12 shots at Strength 5. Dropping a template into the Hormagaunt scatters off of the Hormagaunts onto the Swarm Lord. It's a nice Strength 9. I do wound him, but he does manage to make his 3+ save. And then I'm just going to open up fire with Flesh Borers against the Hormagaunts because they are a bit of a threat. So the first group of Termagants fires and kills a lot of the Hormagaunts. The second group of Termagants managed to whittle down even more. So now they're pretty much safe for me to charge. So firing into the warriors, managed to wound one of them, and don't manage to wound them again. The first group of gargoyles are firing into the Termagants, managed to destroy 3 or 4 on the one side. The other group of gargoyles doing the same thing on the other side, and they managed to only kill about 3 of them, or 4 of them on each side, I believe it was. And now the gargoyles are, of course, charging in. The softening up was just the beginning. The charging is, of course, just supposed to finish it off. And then the 2 groups of Termagants are going to charge into the Hormagaunts from either side, in hopes to completely destroy the Hormagaunts so that they can then be freed up to block the Swarm Lord from charging my monstrous creatures. Now these warriors are only weapon skill 1 right now, so this should actually be able to be good for the Termagants because they're going to be hitting on 3+, which is nice. Over here we'll start with the Termagants against the Gargoyles. The Termagants get to go first, and they actually get it at the same time, but we decided to let them go first just for fun, and they managed to kill 4 gargoyles, who still get to hit back because of the same initiative. So I got lots of attacks in here, auto wounding on 6s on the 2 hits. I get lots of wounds, and he killed all but 1 of his guys. Now because of his Fearless, he takes that many more wounds, and the last one dies. And the gargoyles then consolidate. Unfortunately, I only roll like a 2 or a 3, and they don't consolidate very far away from the table edge, so if the Gene Stealers come in that side, those gargoyles are screwed. Next we have the Hormagaunts and the Termagants. The Hormagaunts get to go first at initiative 5, hitting on 5+, but does actually manage to do 3 wounds with the 2 of the Hormagaunts. The other 2 Hormagaunts don't do as well. They don't roll quite as high, so they don't do any wounds. And then I hit back, and there's lots of attacks here. There's only 4 Hormagaunts to kill, so this is not going to be very hard, because he only has a 6+ save. So the 4 Hormagaunts are gone. And thankfully we have consolidation, so I could block the Swarm Lord from charging the Carnifex, because monstrous creatures can't tank shock, which is kind of funny that they can't. And the warriors against the Termagants, the warriors are hitting on 5+ because their weapon skill is only 1. They do manage to kill 2 gaunts, and then the gaunts hit back on 3+, which is nice, and I did get a lot of hits in there. I managed 3 wounds, and he fails to save on all 3 of them, and the wound allocation makes it so it kills one of the warriors, and the warrior with the Barbed Strangler takes another wound, or takes a wound. And we got the Termagants against the Gargoyles, all hitting with the same initiative. The Termagants we're just going to let go first, because they have less attacks. They do manage to kill off 4 of the Gargoyles, who will still get to hit back. So all the Gargoyles are hitting back, and there's a lot of 6s in there, which are auto wounds, and a lot more wounds in there. So, of course, you're not going to see these Termagants survive. And those Gargoyles did a little better at consolidation. They managed to pull much further away from the table edge, so they're a little safer than the other side. So they're just going to consolidate in here. You can see them falling off the base there. Now we're entering into Dan's turn 2. First thing he's going to do is roll reserves. He only needs a 3+ because of the Swarm Lord. And so we see that the Doom will come in. The one group of Gene Stealers failed it, and the other group of Gene Stealers will come in as well. The one group actually managed to roll and come in the right side, which meant that those Gargoyles are dead, because there's no way they're going to be able to stand up against 8 Gene Stealers and 1 Broodlord. Tries to drop his spore pod right in the middle there, but it scatters 9 inches just far enough to go on the other side of these termagants. If it was inside the termagants, it would have just stopped shy of them, which would have been the perfect spot for him. And the Doom Maltai comes out. Swarmlord moves over, hoping that all the termagants will be dead. And now we have the brain-sucking phase, where everything within 6 inches has to take a leadership test on 3d6, and whatever it fails by, it loses that many wounds. Now, the old One Eye is nearby, and he grants his leadership to anything within 8 inches, or within 12 inches, and he has a leadership of 8, which is nice. So, out of those three termagants went down, but then 2 of them made a cover save, and so he only managed to kill 1 guy and gain an extra wound. Now his Swarmlord is doing Psychic Scream, so they all have to take a leadership test, but they all make it, so nobody is harmed because of that. And then he does Leech Essence, because he's allowed to do 2 psychic shooting attacks as a Swarmlord. He manages to kill 1 termagant, which gives him his 1 wound back that he had lost, so he's back up to full wounds again. The Spore Pod is then going to open fire with his Lash Whips, and I actually managed to... he gets 2 wounds, and I get a 6+ save, and I actually made both saves, rolled a double 6 there, so that was pretty incredible. Then the Genestealers are charging in, the Swarmlord is charging in to the termagants, who are obviously going to die. The Broodlord goes first, and he gets a lot of hits in, and he's got poison attacks, so he's hitting on or winning on 4s re-rolling, but actually manages to miss most of them, and I managed to save one of the 2. So the Broodlord himself only killed 1 of the gargoyles. However, we've got 24 attacks coming from the Genestealers, who all hit on 3s, re-rolling 1s, and then winning on 4s, re-rolling, as you see right there. I still get my 6+ saves for some of them, except the rending ones, and the gargoyles are all dead. So that is a kill point for Dan. I believe I have 3 kill points right now, and he has 1. Right now the Swarmlord is going to hit the 5 termagants, manages to hit 3 and then wound 3, and destroy them. The 2 get to hit back, on hitting on 5s and wounding on 6s, and there are no wounds there. They lose combat. They are not in Synapse, so they actually run, and he fails his initiative against them, so they actually make it away. So these 2 guys are going to book it, and I'm going to keep them away from anybody, so that denies a kill point, because they really have no use other than that. Now the Warriors are going against the Termagants, who are now back to their regular weapon skill, because... actually no, they're still at weapon skill 1, because it's still in the same round. And he hits, and it doesn't manage to do any wounds, and I hit back, and I don't manage to... I manage to do 1 wound, and so I win, and he makes his armor save. So we're at the end of round 2 here. So far, the game has been very eventful. The Gargoyles have successfully managed to destroy the Termagants and move in, but then the one group of Gargoyles succumb to the Genestealer reinforcements. The Warriors are getting bogged down by one group of Termagants thanks to the Paroxysm, which dropped their weapon skill and Blessed skill down to 1. The current score is 3-1, with the 2 groups of Gaunts and the 1 group of Hormagaunts, against his killing my 1 group of Gargoyles. But as you can see, a lot of my guys are wounded, so the 3-1 score is not incredibly accurate to show who is ahead at this point. You're going to have to wait and see in round 3 to see if he's able to come back and do even more damage, or whether I will win. Go ahead and post a comment below of who you think is going to win.
Visit miniwargaming.com to see our videos 1 month early!